One of the biggest ways that at Youth in Action we find ourselves to be in a partnership rather than adversaries is there's an understanding that one is not beneath another, and that in order to create change, you have to be able to compromise and to work together rather than one being a boss and one being an understudy. And then again, there's the concept of agree to disagree.
I know exactly what you mean. Like, and on a day-to-day basis, it looks like what Errol wrote about in the VUE article. You know, it might be that we change the power dynamic and say, all right, young people are going to actually tell the adult whether or not they're doing a good job, which doesn't happen in very many places, like at home or at school. No one ever asks you if they're doing a good job. They just do it and assume that they're making the right decisions. But at Youth in Action, we ask you. You know, you two being on the board, you just finished my performance evaluation, right? And so pretty soon I'm going to hear what you think about how I did this year, and you could fire me if you want to. You know, so that power lies in your hands, and I think the fact that we're very serious about that power that you all carry is one of the biggest ways that we shift that power dynamic, and it works well for us as an organization.
I just thought of free minds, free people. Like, you would not think that, like, the three of us being teenagers would have planned the things that happened there, like, with a whole bunch of other adults. And it just amazed me, because I remember when we had our planning retreat, and I was like, no one's gonna listen to me. Like, I had to run a whole little event by myself, and I was like, everyone's just gonna be like, this is a teenager. But the reactions that people had, they were just sitting there, they were amazed by the way I spoke. They were just like, the way I facilitated, and it made me happy. And it's just the partnership that we had planning that was what made it so amazing. Like, we had our say in what we could do, and then the adults gave us their ideas. Then the sessions came out. We had a whole youth space that kids really enjoyed, and I just feel like it was an amazing experience. And I feel like that partnership has definitely helped me personally, and I feel like a lot of others, to help us understand adults better too, because you feel like there's a lot of adultism, and you usually feel like they're coming after you, but at Youth in Action, there's that you're equal. Like, no one else can go over you, and that's good. We just did your evaluation. We just had like a 30-minute conversation with a PowerPoint and everything. Like, and then we have our executive meeting next week to come sit you down and tell you, what we think of how you did.
And I think Youth in Action kind of just like the structure of power in Youth in Action prepares youth to be able to stand on their own, because the adults aren't commanding you to do anything. Sometimes, like, I remember when I was co-coordinator, sometimes Errol, he would just tell me, you need to go deal with it. Like, this is your job. You're the co-coordinator. You need to deal with it. And he would just walk out, and I'd be kind of on my own and figuring it out. And I feel like sometimes things like that need to happen, because if he had just stepped in and did it for me, I wouldn't have grown as a person, as a leader. And my job he would basically have done my job for me. And I feel like moments like that are when the youth learn to grow on their own and be their own person. And it empowers them more, because now they see everyone as an equal. Mm-hmm. And because Youth in Action, adults, they're in a way different from regular adults, because we're all kind of just youth all together, you know? And then when you see that, okay, wait, no, she actually is really older than me, so I'm gonna think about the rest of the world like that. And I feel like I've grown to, a lot of people think I'm a lot older than I am, because I don't let people talk down to me. I don't let people take advantage of me. I don't let people just speak whatever way they want to me. And I constantly stand my ground, and I feel like Youth in Action has molded me to do that. And I feel like it's molded a lot of other youth to do that also, through this power structure where everyone is on equal levels. It doesn't matter if you have a master's and I'm in the 9th grade. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, at the most basic level, just the way that we staff Youth in Action is the biggest way that we do the power dynamic. So when you walk in the door, if you're a young ninth grader, you don't have that much experience, you have the opportunity to become a volunteer and to staff the bulk of the programs at Youth in Action. From the moment that you walk in the door, as long as you're willing to learn the skills it takes to do it, you can do it. And so you immediately see this organization with a few adults, but a ton of young people, and those are the people that run the organization. They govern the organization by being the majority of the board of directors. They also manage the work of the organization by designing all the programs and leading them. And they're paid to be there just like the adults are paid to be there. So I think that from the beginning is the very foundation of how we create the power dynamic. But then I think informally, the way we kind of ask all of you to be a part of every decision that we make, you know, even if it's just the color of paint on the walls or, you know, your yellow paint, or you know, whether or not we continue to be in the building that we're in. You know, you guys are part of every decision, and we really depend on that. And I think we're a stronger organization because of that. And our community will be stronger once it figures out that that's the secret to making sure that positive change happens and that we grow.
I could just think of when we had our meeting with Angel Tavares.
Oh.
I thought it was really funny because the moment we walked in, Youth in Action, it's just really funny. Like, we just have this empowerment in us. I want to say we're not like normal teenagers because we walk into a room and you just know that like we command attention and we mean business, and we've just been molded to be like that. Like, I'm like that 24/7 out of Youth in Action, inside Youth in Action. And I feel like at the meeting with Angel Tavares, like, he knew we had an agenda and we wanted to talk to him and we weren't going to take no for an answer. And he tried to maneuver and stuff, but it was really hard. It's really hard for other adults or outsiders who feel like they can overpower us to actually accomplish that goal.
I think in a way, they feel somewhat intimidated, if that's the right word to put it. Like, I can bring this back to when we had the meeting with Commissioner Gist. She walked into a room with about 25 youth and like 4 adults and her. And she was just sitting there in the center of the room, and then she was like, so what do you guys want to talk about? The agenda was already made. We were ready to go. We said, we'd like to talk about graduation requirements. We want to know the specifics, like how this is working. And then she asked for our advice. Like, I feel like they walk into there already being willing to work with us. Because I feel like if you're not willing to work with us, why even talk to us? Like, it's just not beneficial for anybody. And I feel like when she talked to us, like, she already had her mind made up, but it made her rethink a little certain things. And she left there saying that she had a great meeting time and she felt like she learned a lot and she gained a lot. So we did our job.
A lot of the times I feel like it's the mutual respect that we share and the understanding that we will work with you as an equal rather than, again, an understudy. And when we get into a room, it's a little surprising to an adult who's not used to this environment, who's sitting there looking at all these children and kids like, I will not work as, or you will not speak at me, but rather you will speak with me. And when we get to that point and we continue to go on like the meeting, like there's nothing wrong and this is how we normally act because this is how we see all adults, as Buki said, it's very hard to ignore that and to continue to try to act the same way. So it's kind of like we are intimidating. And in a sense, it has to be to a point where you have to act with us as equals rather than someone who's above us in order to get this change done, in order for this conversation to continue. And that's the way it is at Youth in Action. It's this understanding, this respect, and the way that we work and our dynamic of it all.
And I think in addition to that, whenever we go to meet all these policymakers or any other adult outside of Youth in Action, we usually have our research done and we have all of everything that we need to confront them with done. So it's not like any ordinary youth who just wants to complain and whine about something. We know what we're whining about and how we want it to be fixed, and we have options for you to fix it.
I think the most important thing about what all of you are saying is that you are normal youth. I think that's what we want the world to understand, is that you're just average high school students. I mean, you're amazing in my heart, but there's nothing, there's nothing that we're putting in you. Like, you come already able to do all the things that you're doing, and we just provide the space and a little support to make it come out. I think it's suppressed in the way that the world generally works. And we kind of design schools and other places to be spaces that you don't feel like you can say what's on your mind or suggest solutions. And not only do we encourage it, but we provide opportunities for you to do it. And I think that's what makes you feel special, or what makes people look at you and think, wow, these must be super youth, or you must be we wouldn't necessarily be able to make this happen in our community, but absolutely every community can make this happen. Absolutely every school and community organization should be thinking about how to elevate young people so that they can do what they do naturally.